It's hard to predict which will grow quicker as artificial intelligence programs take on more responsibilities and overcome more problems. Our faith in them or our dread of them. Ray Kurzweil, a futurist, predicted that by 2039, computers would be morally intelligent and as persuasive as people. Even if it takes more than 10 years, we don't know how accurate the prognosis can be. Are robots still capable of achieving consciousness once the Kurzweil machines confirm their existence? Is that what it means to say? At this point, understanding consciousness and how to duplicate it if we don't understand it may be more pressing concern. How AI will design the human future is a topic of a panel discussion at South by Southwest with academic and business experts. What the heck is this AI? The majority of the most current capabilities of AI, including illness diagnosis, conversational interaction, and generating realistic prose, utilize machine learning and the use of statistics to uncover patterns in massive data sets. Making predictions thereafter utilizing these patterns. However, the term AI has been used to describe everything from basic software and algorithm manipulation to sophisticated artificial intelligence and basic reasoning. The term artificial intelligence is bandied about often and occasionally incorrectly. However, a survey revealed that 40% of EU enterprises that claim to be using or functioning with AI really did not now employ any technology at all. Developing AI was one of the first things we really needed to accomplish. They defined it as a collection of diverse technologies impacted by the human brain that allow people to comprehend their surroundings and determine what actions to take in response to those inputs. Modelling an unknown phenomenon, here's the strange thing about that idea and about AI in general. We're literally trying to replicate the capabilities of the human brain without gaining anything resembling a thorough grasp of how the human brain functions. We're beginning to interface our brains with computers, but Stone noted that brains don't comprehend computers. Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai cognitive neuroscience and professor of psychiatry, Dr. Heather Berlin, concurred. One of the greatest puzzles is why this 3-pound chunk of stuff will give each of us our unique perceptions, emotions, and drives. That is not to say that we are not progressing. Major advances in neuroscience have been made in recent years. Amir Hussain, CEO and founder of Austin-based Spark Cognition and AI company, stated that although this has been long of the stuff of science fiction, there is currently significant research being done in this area. The improvement in brain-machine interactions demonstrates how much more we now value the brain than we did a few years ago. Neural devices are used to help people who have lost their voice or mobility due to an accident or illness regain such abilities. Scientists have developed methods to send signals from the brain to prosthetic limbs and activate particular brain circuits to cure diseases, including Parkinson's, PTSD, and depression. But a lot of the inner workings of the brain remain a deep, dark secret that has to be better understood if we're ever going to get beyond limited AI, which is the current state of the technology and refers to systems that can only execute certain jobs. To assess if an AI system like ChatGPT might be called conscious, a group of philosophers, neuroscientists, and computer scientists, including Dr. Lindsay, developed a framework a few weeks ago. A list of quantifiable characteristics that could point to the existence of some presence in a machine is proposed in the paper, which reviews that Dr. Lindsay refers to as the brand new science of consciousness. Recurrent processing theory, for instance, emphasizes the distinctions between conscious perception and unconscious perception. According to neuroscientists, electric impulses are sent from the nerves in our eyes to the primary visual cortex and then to deeper regions of the brain, much like a baton being passed from one group of nerves to another, causing us to unknowingly see objects. When the baton is returned from the deeper regions of the brain to the primary visual cortex, producing a loop of activity, these impressions appear to become conscious. According to an alternative idea, various parts of the brain are employed for different kinds of cognitive functions. For example, the portion of the brain that can balance your top-heavy body on a pogo stick is distinct from the part of the brain that can take in a vast landscape. Only partially are we able to integrate all this information together. Thus, the presence of a global workspace that enables coordination and control over what we pay attention to, what we remember, and even what we perceive has been hypothesized by neuroscientists. Our awareness could emerge from this dynamic into hypothesized place. Scientists have wondered how to demonstrate if a computer demonstrates intelligence similar to that of a person, since Alan Turing's renowned imitation game in the 1950s. The theoretical scenario, better known as the Turing test, involves a human judge having a conversation with a computer, another human and a third person. The judge must determine which participant has an artificial consciousness. The test's central hypothesis is the starting statement: can machines think? The closer machines have come to resembling human intellect, the more difficult it is to distinguish between them. The Turing test was broken by ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an illustration of a chatbot driven by a large language model, LLM, which ingests stuff from the internet like memes and comments. It is quite good at simulating human reactions, including composing essays, hacking tests, and preparing meals. These innovations, which arrived at a startling rate, sparked discussion about how to develop additional standards for evaluating thinking machines. The majority of recent efforts have been on standardized exams for people, such as those created for high school students, the bar exam for attorneys, or the GRE for graduate school admission. The AI engine that powers ChatGPT, OpenAI's GPT-4, placed in the top 10% of competitors. It had trouble figuring out the rules for a very straightforward visual puzzle game though. While evaluating a certain level of intelligence, the new standards do not necessarily address the issue of consciousness. Here is where neurology comes into play. To artificial general intelligence, or to computer systems that are equally intelligent and capable of learning as people, the main concern that emerges in this situation, and one that is increasingly recurrent in fiction and movies, is whether robots can develop a general intellect on par with that of humans. Does that also imply that they would be awake? The study of consciousness is forbidden in the natural sciences due to its fuzziness and imprecision. The task was primarily left to philosophers, at least until recently, who were frequently only somewhat more adept than others at elucidating their subject of study. Columbia University roboticist Odd Lipson claimed that some professionals in the industry refer to consciousness as the C word. According to neuroscientist Grace Lindsay of New York University, there was this idea that you can't study consciousness until you have tenure. There are numerous and complex neurobiological theories of consciousness. Neural computation, or how our neurons link and process information so that it reaches a conscious mind, lies in the core of these processes. In other words, even if we still didn't completely grasp the specifics, awareness is the outcome of the brain's processing. It is now feasible to apply ideas of human consciousness to AI thanks to this realistic examination of consciousness. The notion, known as computational functionalism, holds the correct sort of calculations to produce awareness regardless of the medium, soft, fatty blobs of cells within our heads or hard, cold chips that drive machine brains. According to the team, it implies that consciousness in AI is theoretically possible. The fact that the most cutting-edge AI systems are deep neural networks that learn how to do things on their own in ways that aren't always interpretable by humans is one of the challenges with this strategy. At least for the time being, we can extract some types of information from the internal structure, but only in a few specific ways. This is the AI black box issue. Therefore, even if we had a complete and accurate definition of awareness, it will be challenging to apply to the devices we use on a daily basis. Without human beings being able to monitor how they make decisions and/or judgments, AI shouldn't advance, in particular in systems that might imply the difference between life and death. Medicine is a good illustration of this. Existing innovations have the potential to save lives, but they are not being deployed because physicians and nurses lack confidence in them. Transparency must be maintained. However, requiring too much openness would also be a mistake, since it would obstruct the creation of technologies that, in the best case scenario, save lives and, in the worst case scenario, increase efficiency and give clinicians more face-to-face time with patients. This brings us back to the idea that we are developing technology that is based on the human brain, which has undergone millions of years of evolution and whose mechanisms we do not fully understand, whether it be for something as simple as deciding when to brake or accelerate, or something as complex as measuring consciousness. Just because we are able to do something doesn't mean we should. Although the potential power of the technology is intriguing, we must also consider its ramifications. Do you think it will be good for an AI to become conscious? Do let us know and subscribe to our channel.